Hola, buenos dias, como esta? It's Kai Pacha with the weekly Pele report for August 7th, 2019. Made it back down to the river. The river washes all the cares, concerns, and worries away. Totally freaking awesome. It's been a while since I've been down here. It's the rainy season, and so this river is a little different after every rainy season. It's amazing how these big, huge rocks get moved around. So transformation, name of the game with the moon in Scorpio. Today, first quarter square. We had that new moon last week. Now we got the first quarter square. 14 degrees. 56 minutes of Scorpio. Ooh, yeah, with the sun over there, obviously at 14 degrees, 56 minutes of Leo, the lion. And that sun is traveling along together with Venus for a long time. She's in the underworld, like I said, last week, she's under there for a long time. And she's traveling along, and they're going to catch up to Mars. Oh, por Dios. It's like the sun is exactly conjunct Venus next Tuesday. Okay? And they're moving together. They're going to be moving through Leo together, moving and catching up to Mars. Venus conjuncts Mars on the 24th, right? Sun conjuncts Mars on September 1st. We are talking about a Sun-Venus-Mars conjunction traveling along through the rest of August. Oh, yeah. That's like the masculine and feminine coming together. Ew! With the sun shining down bright. I'll talk more about that, but let's look at the rest of these aspects. Venus is trine Jupiter. Sun is trine Jupiter today. Venus is trine Jupiter tomorrow. And these trines to Jupiter, I'll get into that too. But it's amazing because I talked about Jupiter last week, as being stationary. Just like standing, right, at that same degree of Sagittarius. And this is actually turning around. This is a big time. Jupiter goes direct on Sunday. And it's the same day as Uranus goes retrograde. And if that wasn't enough, Mercury is going into Leo. So, we're going to have, big shift there on Sunday, right? Things turning around, topsy-turvy. Rather unpredictable, but we'll see. And what else? So that moon's moving through Sag, on Thursday. And it goes in there, and Saturday moves into Capricorn. Occults, as in hides and blacks out Saturn and Pluto next Monday. And yeah, that's pretty much, most of the aspects here. Check out that cliff. And there's a little pool over there. I don't know if I'm going to have time to go swimming today, but I better. It likes to rain in the afternoon, This is the morning here. We still have a little bit of sun and, open skies there for a little bit, but by the afternoon, it gets dark and pours buckets. All right, talk at you. Okay, what's going on? You remember the cliff? That's the cliff right back over there. Sometimes it feels like we have to jump off that cliff. I mean, cliff jumping, diving off the cliff into that is, the free fall. Oh my God. I remember South Point over there on the Big Island. That was a jump. That's a good one where you let go. Falling. And you just fall. And there's this time and space where you are floating and you're completely vulnerable. You're at the mercy. And some people will kick and yell and whatever, and other people will just, it's very interesting, eh? Yeah. How we let go. Moon in Scorpio. And, you know, today's mantra, I mean, there's so much to talk about. Oh my God. The big thing is, I feel like we have been in, like, if you think of the Indy 500 or, you know, a car race, you know, and it goes around and it's got to make a pit stop, right? We've been in the pit stop. You know, July, Mercury retrograde, Jupiter retrograde, Saturn retrograde, Chiron retrograde, Saturn retrograde, Pluto retrograde. Ah! We have been, you know, we have been like held back. And that's part of what the mantra is today. It's about going inside, self-inquiry, the necessity to go back, to go in, to reflect in order to like fully express and come out. And all I can say is they're putting the finishing touches on the race car now. We're just about done with that pit stop. I mean, it's going to be something when Jupiter goes direct on Sunday. Woo, baby! It's been since like March, okay? And as he does, he's going to come back into an exact square with Neptune, which has been going on since January, even December, I think, you know? And what that means is what? Well, if you've got the Sun, Venus trine Jupiter, and Jupiter is square Neptune, that Sun, Venus is in a quincunx, 150-degree aspect, the breakaway aspect. Yep. Time to break away from illusions, false beliefs, fake news, lies, self-deception, and deception by others. Let's not forget the world is a mirror, and when we deceive ourselves, we get deceived. So you got to go in, you got to like wake the frickin' up. And this is such a really great time for that because what? Uranus, right? Uranus, the planet of liberation, of awakening, of enlightenment, is stationing to go retrograde for like the next 6 months. Uranus is going to be going retrograde, reflecting, rebelling against myself, rebelling against my past, rebelling against my old set of values and priorities and what's important and what's not important. Uranus is the planet that helps us move into the witness, into the observer, outside ourselves. We kind of look down and go, oh, so you've been doing that, saying that, wanting that. Well, is that really in alignment with your waking up? So it's, you know, very wonderful, I think. You know, this, you know, Uranus has to do with rebellion and revolution. And yes, it's going through Taurus. We just had an earthquake here yesterday. Taurus, fixed earth, money, resources. We can look at, you know, the U.S.-China thing going on. China's in charge of all the heavy metals and stuff, and the U.S. is after that. I mean, but, you know, we can look at the world situation and say, well, you know, financial markets and everything. Uranus going into Taurus, I've talked about it before. Unstable market values, unstable, because we're in a transitionary stage of bringing in this new paradigm, which takes many, many years. Like I said, a couple generations. We're changing our priorities. We're changing our values. Like it or not, ready or not, because it can also come down to survival or not. You know, global warming and oil and nuclear bombs. And I mean, we've got so many things threatening. I talked about technology threatening, 5G, you know. I mean, it's like there are so many threats to us just living on the freaking planet. amazing that it has gotten so far out of sanity. So, and Uranus is the planet of extremes, and maybe it just takes, extreme situations, very often involving pain. Uranus is also the ruler of trauma, sudden shocking events that wake you up, wake us up. Well, let's be ahead of that train. Let's wake ourselves up before the catastrophe. Let's wake ourselves up before the disaster. Let's wake ourselves up before the stock market crash or whatever. Right? This is going in to come into. And what is going in? Discovering, embracing, right? And really enlivening ourselves with the creative act, like I talked about last week. And what we discover when we go in is what we're afraid of. Is what maybe we don't value. Maybe my mother always wanted me to be a priest. My father always wanted me to be a doctor. Wanted me to be a rebel. We've got all kinds of stories. And this is what we've really, I think, come into touch with through the eclipse season, through this north node of the moon in Cancer, is how our childhood has really impacted us. And, just imagine. I don't even want to imagine. I mean, it's scary to imagine how vulnerable babies are. You've got no power. You are completely at the mercy of everyone and everything in your environment. You can't walk, you can't talk, you can't feed yourself, you can't do freaking anything. It scares me just thinking about it. So of course, what do? You try to read. Okay, what's the easiest, best way to get fed, to get held, to be taken care of? What does mom want me to do? What does dad want? What do my brothers and sisters, what's this environment? How can I best get my needs met? And what do? You end up conforming. Right? You end up playing their game. Doing what they want to please them. So they will take care of you. It's just a big cost reward. And the cost is really high. And the reward is survival. So we're just like, we are a bundle, okay, of compromises. And when you go in and you start really tapping into, who you are, what you really want, what you really would have liked to have said in that conversation or to that person or to that lover, okay, what you're really feeling can be very different than what comes out the mouth. Can be very different than what you end up doing. I mean, even what you are deciding. And we're talking big decisions, not just conversations. So this is Leo is coming into, look at that lion that I've got at the beginning, man, and the end, The lion is not compromising. The lion is a regal, right? Kingly, queenly, powerful. And this power is inside. Leo is about being original, about being authentic, about being loyal to your inner calling so that you can radiate that out and create something new, something different, something original. And we do that by throwing off the conditioning, throwing off the programming, throwing off, the demands and expectations of other people, and coming into our own truth. exciting. It's exciting. And what is it? Scary. It's a risk. You know, Leo in the 5th house and the sun have to do with gambling, risk-taking, trusting in myself, trusting in life, trusting, you know, that I am going to, you know, land on my feet when I jump off that cliff. You know, I'm gonna, you know, gonna be a cat, land on my feet. It's gonna be okay. I'm gonna be okay because I am the sun. And the sun is with me. The sun is working through me. I'm an agent of life. I'm an agent of the sun. I'm a co-creator. It's not, you know, separation, us and them. It's like I'm an expression of life. Life is coursing through these veins, wanting to just like enter the 3rd dimension. We're spiritual beings bringing the multi-dimensional, you know, imaginations and inspirations and realities down into. This is, you know, this is how Leo is opposite Aquarius. And what you'll find is that you are actually, you know, when you are in your core and in your truth and comfortable in that, you will naturally serve the whole. You will understand your relationship to the whole. And your light will be shining in the darkness, illuminating the whole. This is not about, you know, selfishness, egocentric self. Okay, that's, you know, that's a weakness. That's when you are out of touch with your own truth and you're still trying to win the game by playing other people's games. It's like, you know, when you're actively creating, you're too busy to get sucked into this, that, or the other drama. I gotta say, I'm sucked into a couple of dramas myself. I'm watching this Netflix series and everything, and yeah, I remember it takes 3 days for me, 3 days to get a movie out of your system. That your imagination, that your thoughts, okay, that your ideas, that your, you know, your attitudes, even your conversations or whatever, you know, can really be, we are very sensitive beings. And, you know, this media really infringes on our autonomy and our ability to be sovereign to and with ourselves. So it's like, wow, wow. So, yeah, I've been, you know, talking with my friend Lauren Swift. She just wrote this book. It's going to be out in October. I'm going to put the link, you know, to it, where she explains very much about the ego and very much about the need for self-inquiry in order to carry forth, right, to become, you know, the forebearers, you know, the teachers, and give birth to this new paradigm. And she kind of inspired, you know, today's mantra. She gave me her synopsis in chapter 1 so I could write a little, you know, something about the book, you know, for the back of the book. And it was really perfect for the moon in Scorpio, going deeply into, right, myself, my truth, my shadow, you know, with the help of a therapist or a partner or someone, you know, some powerful reflecting force, and discovering, and this is what this square moon, this first quarter square, is about. Sometimes we learn through confrontation. You know, we want to express something and somebody wants to block it or stop it or disagree with it, or you know try to put you back in your place, tell you to shrink. Okay, so we need to. Scorpio is the sign of confrontation. And then that moon's moving through, okay, Sagittarius, nice, you know, Friday, Saturday. Then it moves into, and like I say, when it gets into Capricorn, it's like coming around again. It's really time to become more and more the authors of our own life. And if that means tuning out, you know, to world affairs and the media and all this kind of stuff for a little while, self-care. Self-care is super, super important these days. So, But like I say, Jupiter goes direct. September 16th, Saturn goes direct. And we're coming out of that pit stop. Things are going to start ramping up. Things are going to start going forward again. You're going to start getting the results of all the work that you've been putting in for the last 6 months. You just wait till October, November. The rewards. Okay, you know, the response. It's gonna be freaking awesome. Yeah, baby. Oh my God. Life is a constant reminder that I need to go in to go out. As the more I discover, accept, and embrace, the less I am crippled by doubt. Yeah, I know you know what I'm talking about. When you don't know yourself, you doubt yourself, and you question your motives, and you question, you know, the outcome, and you question, you know, if you're gonna do this or hurt this person, or you're gonna, you know, hurt yourself. You get all caught up in this mental monkey mind, trying to figure out the outcome of stuff, and it's like, when you are. Feel it, you know? It's that sports person making that basket, making that goal, you know, just, you know, surfing that wave. You're centered in your core. You're not doubting. You're awake. You're aware. You're like the lion. You're like the puma. You're like the panther. Ready in a second, in a moment's notice, to follow, to jump, to go where your instinct leads you, because you trust that instinct to be leading you correctly. One more time. Life is a constant reminder that I need to go in to go out. As the more I discover, accept, and embrace, right? The less I am crippled by doubt. May you go in and come back out. Namaste. Aloha. So much love.